I'm going to get the job. I'm really confident. I have really fulfilled all the criteria. I've got the best marks in the semester, and I'm sure that I'll be the one who is going to get the job because I have really topped the exam. Do you know that without EQ you cannot get the job? Yes, just by having IQ is not enough. Yes, I agree with you. I really think what he is saying is right because these days, without emotionally intelligent, you cannot really find an opportunity. Remember, the productivity and the well being of an organization always depends on emotional quotient. And if you are really not emotionally intelligent, just by mere marks and just by being smart, you cannot do that because the smartness today is being emotionally intelligent. So it starts to change your thoughts. I don't think so. Let's see. We all want to become successful in life, and that is perhaps every time we try to find out different ways and secrets how to get success. Today, the topic is about how to find success, and in order to get success, what is the role played by emotional quotient and how significant it is in comparison than intelligence quotient, which has always been discussed. Today, we're going to understand that what exactly is the significance of EQ in our life. More relevantly, if I say it is known as emotional intelligence. Today, when we are talking about people being really sharp and smart, how much sharp and smart they are, it all depends on how much emotional intelligent you are. Today, when we see that there is an advent of artificial intelligence in the market, people are really afraid that we might be out of job. But do you know, artificial intelligence cannot ever replace emotional quotient, and that is what being EI. So today we'll know that how EI is more powerful than AI, because in a time when we see that most of the stereotype and the typical jobs which are really going to be replaced by artificial intelligence, it is believed that after 25 years from now, still we'll have the importance of emotional intelligence. And that is why it is expected the people who are really good in emotional intelligence, they would be given a premium price for these jobs. So it's time for us to learn that how we can become more emotionally intelligent, because it has been seen that if really our success depends on anything, it is all about how strong we are in our emotional intelligence and how you can develop that. That is all we have to learn by our innate skills, by how we can control our self awareness, how we can know about our self management. And after that, we will also develop our social awareness, and gradually it is going to impact our relationship management. So, all these things we are going to learn today, we are going to definitely get some more ideas when we listen to our speakers today. So, without much wasting time, let's jump into the topic and listen to our speakers today. Hi, all of you. We are here as promised. We are back with one more interesting webinar. And today's webinar is going to be a power-packed discussion because this is something which is considered as the root of all success. So, if you ever have thought about emotion, I'm sure you are always being startled or surprised that how emotion can play a very important role in our life. So, today's topic is why emotional quotient is considered more significant than intelligence quotient in the pursuit of life success. We all know that emotionally intelligent people are always having the edge on others. But how exactly we can nurture that? What exactly mean by emotional intelligence, or what exactly is emotional quotient? Today it is very important for each and every person, whether you are a student, you are a professional, you are a business person, you are a domestic, you're leading a domestic life, but it is very important for us that whichever field and whichever sector you are coming from, you have to be emotionally intelligent. But if you're really trying to understand about this, we have to definitely listen to our speakers today. We have our guest speakers. We would be gradually going for their introduction. We'll come to know about them. But before that, I should tell you that how exactly I thought about bringing this topic and making a point that how exactly it can really impact our life. This emotional intelligence is not a very old topic. This topic actually comes from early 90s. When we go back in the Yale University days, when a young professor, he basically come with the topic called emotional intelligence in his thesis. And then gradually it was taken by his fellow professors. And then there was a gentleman called as David Goldman who started researching on this topic, and they found that the abbreviation can be very fancy, EQ. We all talk about developing our IQ, but hardly people talk about developing their emotional quotient. Further, he went on branching it into his particular EQ model, where he has considered that how exactly it could be relevantly put into four boxes. When we talk about self-awareness, when we talk about self-management, social awareness, or relationship management. So how all these things can integrate and further impact our lives? If you see today, most of the things which happen around us, it's nothing but the byproduct of emotion. Whether you talk about someone doing extraordinarily well in their life, someone is getting good marks in exams, we all applaud and we praise that person. But it's all the byproduct of emotion. And at the same time, when some mishaps happen, when we see some relationship falls apart, there are some fights, there are some divorces, there are some heartbreaks, it's all also because of emotion. People are being terminated from job. People lose their job. People get the best employee award. It's all because of emotions. So, my friend, you can understand it is the center of our discussion today that how exactly emotions can be a double-edged sword in life. If you handle it carefully, it can really give you flowers. But if you don't handle it carefully, the same flowers can be thorns for you. So we just want to get into the topic without wasting much time. I would request in a chronological order as per the pattern which is visible to me, I would request Mr. Joshi, who is really a talented motivator, facilitator, speaker. I think I have very less stock of words if I want to describe and define him. But I have been knowing him for several years now. He is my professional friend, and I requested him to join this session. And in spite of his, busy schedule and all, he has still given me the word that he'll be available today. So thank you, sir, for being here and also joining us. So I would request if you can introduce yourself and also tell us about something on this topic.
Thank you, Premankur. Thank you for having me here. And as you all would have noticed, Premankur is very good as far as praising people is concerned. So that puts him on a very high pedestal as far as having a great emotional intelligence and emotional quotient is concerned. So I guess.
Thank you.
So thank you for putting me up first. Thanks a lot. And Premankur has given a very good introduction as far as what EQ is all about. But before I go into EQ, let me introduce myself. I'm Vivek Joshi. I've been into corporate for better part of almost 3 decades, wherein I've worked in almost all capacities, right from starting at the ground level and making it to the top. I was into sales and marketing for almost 3/4 of my career. And then I moved into HR, where I was looking after the entire gamut of HR. As far as better part of last 1 decade is concerned, I am a facilitator, I'm a trainer, and I've been working with corporates for business turnaround. And of course, psychology is of my particular what you call interest, because and EQ, of course, is a big part of psychology. Whether we talk about Richard Bandler or we talk about Daniel Goleman, so I guess this topic really made me ticked off some of the boxes as far as the things are concerned. Primankur has given a very good introduction as far as the entire thing was concerned. There are a couple of things which, frankly, in a friendly way, I don't agree. Right? I tell you what those are. He talked about Daniel Goleman or people in Yale being the first ones who came out with emotional intelligence. I understand they are the one who gave it the nomenclature, right? I totally agree with that. However, emotional intelligence has been as old as the mankind. We
Absolutely.
have seen people being successful, people being unsuccessful because of one factor, that was understanding their own and the other person's emotions. And I always believe that one of the oldest books, one of the best books that have always ever been written on emotional intelligence is not one by the by Bandler or by Daniel Goleman. It is what we call as Bhagavad Gita.
Absolutely.
If there is one text that talks on emotional intelligence and can change the way a person thinks and does his actions based upon getting into his mind, understanding his emotions, and then what you call nurturing in emotions in such a manner that he agrees to do what he never ever wanted to do. Right? And what is emotional intelligence? If you really ask me, I won't go into big definitions. Knowing what is good, knowing what is bad, knowing how to move from bad to good, knowing my own emotions, because until and unless I know my own emotions, I just cannot do anything about anything else. And then I move on to know the other person's emotions. So if I talk about EQ, and when I say about EQ, and the topic says, is it as important as far as today's success is concerned? I'll say EQ always equates to strong social skills. And having strong social skills is the key to success, not only in workplace, but a key to success in your relationships also. And I'll stick my neck out, I'll say EQ is the glue that really binds IQ and success. You can have the best of IQs, but if you don't have that glue, you just cannot bind yourself to that success. This is how I look at it. Because it's all about knowing yourself, knowing the other persons, knowing about what the other person is thinking and how I can manage those relationships, how I can have that trust, how I can have that collaboration. So if you ask me, yes, it is very, very important. IQ, of course, has its own thing because you need to have some skills. If you don't have skills, you cannot move ahead. But real success is always about how you are using your skills and how you are, what you call, utilizing the other person also on making him give his best so that the skills really move in a direction which we all call as success. So this is what I wanted to talk about as far as the introduction thing was concerned. Yes, Premangar.
Thank you, sir. I would basically request our second speaker, Mr. Sanjit, to come with his view and introduction, please, sir.
Yeah, greetings to all. I'm Sanjit Basma from West Bengal, Siliguri, and I have joined my career as a trainer, as a computer instructor. But later on, the speaking industry, fascinated me a lot, and I always want to inspire, motivate people to be confident. And today's topic is really very interesting, and this is one of my favorite subjects, EQ, emotional quotient. That there's a very good saying that IQ can land you in a dream job. IQ can land you in a dream job, but lack of EQ can get you fired. So that is, I believe that if somebody has IQ, exceptional ability to solve problems or with the reasoning, with the brain, so then one can get a very good job. But if somebody has or lack of EQ, then he or she cannot be in that industry for a long time. So I believe this, this emotional quotient is very, very important, as both Mr. Primanku Das and Mr. Vivek Joshi has pointed out, that EQ has been in the industry for a long time, since the time immemorial. But the gentleman, as you all know, uh, Daniel Goleman has given this concept as a more formatted way, and in his book, Intelligence Quotient, why it matters more than IQ. So in that book, he has really stated that, how emotional intelligence can be your asset. And emotional intelligence is something, you need it in everywhere. It is not only your workplace, in your family, in your friend circle, in the school, colleges, everywhere you need this emotional uh, quotient or emotional intelligence. So that's why we see, when a child grows, when they are being bullied in the school, they get, angry, because they cannot control their emotion. They cannot manage their emotion. They cannot manage their anger, and that's why they do some activity which are really, hampering their career. So that's why we see, in some different countries, if we talk about America or some European countries, we see that students are keeping revolver, arms in their, pocket. When the things go wrong, so they, fire at random. So that's why we see. And I can also cite an example from my childhood. When I was in a school, primary school, in my city. So one girl was being bullied by a boy, and that girl, she was screaming, and she was throwing paints. There was some paint were there, colors were there, and she started throwing the paint here and there, making everything dirty. So when she was called and she was said that why you are doing this, and somebody said her baby, and she wanted to prove that she is no more baby. She started doing all this mess in the school. So that's why it happened. Basically, she could not control her anger. She could not manage emotionally. So that thing happens in our society. So that's why I believe this emotional quotient is very, very important. At the same time, it gives healthy relationship. If the emotional quotient or the emotional intelligence is good, you have a better relationship at home. You have a better relationship at workplace or in your society. And it also, uh, we also face a kind of problem. This is called, instant gratification. Instant gratification is something that we want to get everything instantly, like just, instant coffee. So everything cannot be, you cannot get everything instantly. You have to have the patience. You have to have this. You have to wait for this. So there also emotional quotient, emotional intelligence comes into play. So if you are going for something, if you want to get something, you need to have patience. You need to have this quality of having the emotional intelligence. So this is what I feel about all this intelligence, quotient or emotional intelligence. And that is what we also saw in the time of pandemic. So when the pandemic started, everybody started, becoming frustrated, becoming angry that jobs were being their jobs were being cut, left, right, and center. People are losing their jobs. There's a problem in the family. There's a problem in the society, and all these things happen because of emotional intelligence only. If they were a little bit, they could have controlled their anger or could have controlled their frustration. They would have emerged as a victor, not as a victim. So if I can give my own example. When that pandemic started in late 2020, I was also one of the victims. You can say that I was having a very good, profession of training and all this thing. When that pandemic started, everything closed down. So income has completely become, you can say, next to nothing. But I saw it as an opportunity. I saw it as an opportunity. I started upgrading myself. I started uh, taking some courses online. I started learning so many things during this pandemic of 1 or 2 years, and that really helped me to introspect, to see myself as a human being, as a uh, person, as a personality. So there comes into your intelligence question, that how you are taking the particular aspect of the situation. So so that is what I want to say about all this. And at last, I would like to say that this is absolutely necessary to be successful in life. One can have excellent IQ, but without EQ, he or she is completely zero. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I would basically request Mr. Abhijit to give his introduction. Sir, if you are there.
Yeah. Sorry, I cannot share my screen because it's
No problem,
completely
sir.
dark here.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Premankur, for inviting me. Absolutely, like already, most of a lot of things has been told by Vivek and Sanjit. Absolutely in line. So I was also discussing with you yesterday. So that's the thing, like Daniel Goleman and these people from the Western side. So actually, this has been practiced in our culture since long time. I think 5,000, 6,000 years of practicing all these concepts are there in our culture. Now here, along with this EQ, I just want to add one more question, one more dimension. I think you all will appreciate that. That is SQ, spiritual quotient. So IQ, EQ, and SQ. So this one person can position himself or herself in this three-dimensional. I think that maybe is more relevant. And one more point, like I just want to add here, like in our philosophy, like if it is a non-dual philosophy, so I believe in non-dual philosophy. Actually, in non-dual philosophy, there one person has this five sheets of life. So the like the physical layer, this the second is mental layer. So all this intelligent layer. So that way causal body till. So there are five sheets of life. Now in the mental sheets, actually the mind, the subtle body, and where actually all these thoughts come in. So thoughts normally comes in like how thoughts comes in. The thoughts comes from our sanskar. So thoughts normally it evolves, automatically it comes. So like now the point is there's a chance that there is a practice can be done if mind can be trained, if any thought, I mean, if we can allow our mind to create only positive thought. That actually I was thinking. So this ability to create positive thoughts all the time, I think that is the emotional quotient, and that must come from the spiritual quotient also as well, because unless you have belief on this construct, thought construct, or the life construct, you cannot like this practice is not possible. So always, if we can make whatever the situations are, whatever, like because thought will automatically evolve. But there is an, I think that it is possible, it is practiced, it is proven that it is possible to create positive thoughts all the time, and that is the EQ, that is the emotional quotient. So I think more or less, I I am not a good speaker. I was thinking of like sharing this much only. Later on, if time permits, I'll again come back. Thank you so much, Ramanpu.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Abhijit. Thank you, sir, for your important like points which you have made, and I'm sure we'll get more into the conversation gradually as the flow continues. I would request Ms. Mohana if she can say something about herself and also about this topic, how you find it relevant.
Yes, first of all, a very warm greeting to everybody here, and thank you so much for welcoming me here today. Well, I see all of you like are very knowledgeable here on this topic. And speaking about me, I am a very young person to all of you. But then again, I will try to throw some light upon this particular topic. So I am a student of law currently. I'm pursuing BBA LLB and I'm from Kolkata. And today I'm here to speak about emotional intelligence along with IQ. And while keeping both side by side, I'm just going to explain how people can build solid, seamless relationships using EQ, how it can help us to achieve our career and personal goals, how it can also help us to connect with our own feelings and grow as an individual. And here I'm also going to speak about how we can turn our intentions into actions, how to manifest things and make real good changes and be a successful person. Keeping it very precise here. So that's it.
Thank you, Moana, for your short, simple, and crisp introduction. I'm sure we would definitely go with our next speaker, Mr. Arnab. He also sent me a message that due to some network or some issues, he's taking time, but he'll be very soon with us. So I just want to make a point quickly, as I understand with the lovely introduction as my speakers have given. So there is a saying by Aristotle, as per his challenge, he says that anyone can become angry, and that is easy. Anyone can get angry, but they don't know that they're getting angry with the right person at the right time and at the right cause and to the right degree and at the right place. So that is what emotional intelligence is going to tell you. So I really hear the example given by my friend, Mr. Sanjit. I also listen to Mr. Abhijit, to Mr. Vivek, that how at times the outburst of emotions and how we can control the emotion, that is all about the social art or the art of living. So how exactly we master to control the emotion, how we know about ourselves. So I think the first lesson of emotion, if we can give to a child or to someone who is really learning about emotional intelligence, is to know about himself first. So I would just quickly come back to Vivek, sir. If you can just tell us something more about, as you rightly pointed out, that our ancient scriptures, like for example, our holy Bhagavad Gita, where exactly these things were given from years and years, but unfortunately, the mankind has not yet learned how exactly it can be meaningful or significant for our life. So I request Vivek sir to highlight more on that and how exactly we can really get inspired by Bhagavad Gita and how actually we can find the gems of all the teachings from that holy scripture. Sir. Sir, you are on mute. If you can please open yourself. You were still on, yeah.
Yeah. Now I guess everything is okay.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you once again, Primankar. And believe me, I'm no spiritual guru, right? Even as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, I always see in any place that I go, I always tell people that please read Gita not as a holy book. You just read it as a book that is going to change the way you look at the world. Whatever religion you might belong to, whatever God that you might worship or may not worship, you might be atheist also. You read that book as a book, not as a holy book. Sometimes what happens is we put some things on such a high pedestal that it becomes very difficult for us to really reach up to that pedestal and go through whatever is happening, right? And now coming back to Holy this Bhagavad Gita, see, we all know it's all about Arjun saying that, boss, I just cannot do it. Like we say in Hindi, humse na ho payega. And he goes through those entire shloks, almost 63 plus shloks and 18 total this thing. And there is an entire 360-degree turn, right? So much so, like, see, the same thing for emotional intelligence. I can talk emotional intelligence. Mr. Arnab, Mr. Abhijit, Sanjit, Mohana, we all, or Dr. Raghuram, we can talk about emotional intelligence. But the fact is that it is something that you need to practice. It is something that you need to know. Like, for example, if you talk about coming back to Gita, if you talk about Shlok 63 in 18th Adhyay of Gita, What Lord simply says is, Lord says, iti te gyan makyatam ta gruhat grunantram maya, vimrischet dakshashena yeteshchi tatha guru. Thus I have discussed with you the secret of all secrets. You have listened to it, now do as you wish. Right? And coming back to emotional intelligence, you talked about anger situation, right? Sanjit was also talking about that lady who was throwing pens around, making everything go topsy-turvy because somebody said, you are a small baby. And she just wanted to prove, right? It's a very apt example, right? And when you look at emotional intelligence, when you talk about self-management, what you are talking about? You're talking about managing your own emotions. You're talking about stress. You're talking about control. You're talking about initiative. You're talking about resilience. This is what you're talking about. And what emotional intelligence always tells you, know your emotions and know the emotions of the person in front of you. So that you can do either of the four A's. Either you can avoid it. If there is an emotion, you want to avoid it for the moment. If there is something which is out of your control, say no to it. And you can do that only when you know your own emotions. Second thing that emotional intelligence talks about is you alter. There are not many things that you can avoid. You alter your thought process to think of it as something like, for example, I'm having a roadblock. I guess that's God's way of testing me, right? There has to be a solution, although right now I don't have one. This is all about emotional intelligence. At that roadblock, you can always go mad and throw things away. However, if you can just train your mind, if you can alter your thought process, you can always go beyond that block. Third thing that you can do is you adapt yourself. It's a situation that has come to you, adapt yourself. And finally, something is unchangeable. God grant me the power to accept it. You accept it. It's uncontrollable, unchangeable. So what emotional intelligence tells you, know yourself, know thyself, know the other person, and then looking at those emotions, looking at the thought process, you adapt yourself. This is what adaptability realm. If you go into Daniel Goleman, he talks about a relationship realm, he talks about adaptability realm. This is what life is all about. You adapt yourself so that you give your best response to the situation. It's the same thing. And you tell yourself, now I know what needs to be done. How it needs to be done is something that is the next step. Like Lord says, now I have discussed with you secret of all secrets. Whether you work on it, whether you don't work on it, it's your choice. This is how I look at it if I look from the spiritual.
I will come back to our speaker who has just come. Sir, I would just take your permission to allow him to speak something. Mr. Arnab, we understand you are moving somewhere, you're traveling. So, but still you have joined. I'm thankful to you. So if you can just come online, Mr. Arnab. I think we lost him. There were some network issues with him. Okay. So with that, sir, I just want to know, I would definitely come back to you, Vivek, sir. I would definitely like to know more that how the youngsters or the people who would be watching this video later on, they can really understand that how we can get benefited by the nuggets of this wonderful holy book, Bhagavad Gita, and what exactly we must do. Because these days what people believe, as Mr. Sanjit said, instant solutions. So people really don't have that patience to go through reading Bhagavad Gita. I have recently, one of my colleague was telling me that every time I think of reading Bhagavad Gita, I somehow felt, demotivated or I get lost. So I said that it is not actually what you should do. First of all, understand you cannot finish it just like a novel. You have to understand the purpose behind reading Gita and not just taking a challenge to finish it in one go or just in a couple of days. Rather think that what exactly you can get off every verse and every chapter.
Very true.
That should be your understanding.
Very true.
And as the word Gita says, if I reverse the word Gita, it is Tagi. So before you think of reading Gita, we should think of how we can tag something from our life and tag all the wrong emotions. How we can unwind the wrong emotions. I think that is what very important in life. We have already Arnab Boral with us. Arnab, if you are listening to us, can you please come and say something on this topic and also introduce yourself to us? Arnab,
Hello, everyone. So sorry.
Hi.
I think you are still on mute, Arnab.
Audible.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So, first things first, when I talk about emotion, the first thing that I understand is basically the first feel that I get out of things. Emotion.
I think your network is challenged here, Arnab, today. Arnab, your voice is breaking. I think the network is.
Actually, my network might be a little.
Now it's okay. Now you're back. Please carry on. Okay, no problem. So we lost him anyway. So there were some issues with the network. So as I was just telling that it is very important for us to understand that how to really, remove the wrong things from our life. So with this, I want to come to Mr. Sanjit. Mr. Sanjit, if you can tell us something that how exactly you think, like as you said that you have some experience, and everybody, I'm sure, all of us have experienced the challenges of drawn by or flown by emotions or negative emotions. So there is a very fine line between the rational and irrational thoughts, and you never know what are the positive and negative emotions. And when it comes in you, you also never feel that. So, Mr. Sanjit, what exactly you do normally? Before you come and advise people, I want to know what exactly you as a professional do. How you control your emotion. I want to know this.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for this question. And it's a really wonderful question, that how I control myself when things goes wrong or it is not under my control.
Yeah.
Now, if I tell the truth, in my school days, in my college, sorry, in my school days and college days, I was very emotional guy. I would get angry just for a couple for a small thing. I could not control myself. I would have emotional outburst. So, but later on, I realized these are the things which are really harming me rather than getting anything, getting any benefit out of it. So now I just control it as Mr. Vivek Joshi has said that that 4 A's. I did not know earlier this thing, that the concept of 4 A's, but I really practice this thing. Today I came to know about this. It is there in the theory, but I practice all these things. That whenever I see something wrong, which I am not going to accept, rather I ignore it. That okay, I'm not going to do all these things. Let the other person do. So I just follow these 4 steps whenever comes to in my life, that how I control myself, or I can get into my you can say how I control my emotion. And now I have decided that I'm not going to get angry at any cost, whatever may happen. Okay. Sometime, when I was in colleges, when I used to go to college, traveling, public transport, whenever I would got stuck in the traffic jam, I would get frustrated. I would get, I would, yell. I would, throw tantrums. Why it is happening there. Okay. But now, if it happens, I get, okay, it has happened. Okay, let us enjoy it. And what I do basically, I would just see the all the people around there, how they are moving, how they are interacting, how their body language. So all these things I start observing, and there also I learn a lot of things about the body language. So, okay, I just predict that that maybe that gentleman or that lady is just thinking that thing when they are moving their hand, moving their like this. What is going to happen? How can I go there? So I observe all these things. So that way, I can control my emotion. I just enjoy the process. So that is what I do in my life. And I have just taken a kind of, you can say, pledge that I'm not going to get angry at any cost. Okay. So this is basically what I do, and I have learned from a lot of books that how to control, how to be in your place. So that is what I do normally. Otherwise, it is all fine.
Thank you, sir. I would quickly go to Abhijit, sir. Abhijit, sir, you have been for a very long time associated with academia. I know that you have been the director of so many big universities. Like he was actually, I should tell you that Abhijit, sir, has been, I always call him a ringmaster. The reason is that he has been at the helm of affairs. He has been like the director of a big university like Camellia University, and now he's with IIM Calcutta Innovation Park, which is again a very innovative thing which he's doing. But then I want to know, sir, how exactly you were controlling your emotion when you were handling so many students, so many teachers, so many professors, and every time there were some problems. How exactly, or how exciting it was, or how tough it was? From your experience, I would like to know.
Yes. Thank you, Premankur. Yeah, well, like, yes, it's a nice journey. Like, no, actually, absolutely. Like Sanjit has already mentioned that. I think this point, what he has mentioned, like already he, the way he and manages his anger, emotions, actually, that is like already he has understood that, like his actual reality. Who am I? So if we can understand that this life is like an appearance, it's just coming and going, just it's instantaneous, like it's not permanent. So the permanent self and is this apparent self. So if I think he has understood that, and then like now we can actually read his mind. So normally in my case also, like once I got this realization actually, people can know this, like who am I, kind of by listening, by reading. It's very simple, but to practicing this is really a difficult task. So this practicing has to be done, like it should come internally. Like as I said, this SQ is very important, spiritual quotient. So until and unless that is developed, and again it is a matter of blessing. Like you cannot forcefully, you cannot get it by like I need this, I have to buy this. You cannot do that. Like it automatically comes in life. Someone's life, it will come. When it will come, I don't know. You will never know. But once it is there, then what will happen? And then like whatever thoughts are again a matter of experience. So we are actually emotions, all these positive and negative thoughts or emotions, these are all an object of experience. So you're experiencing these objects. So again, these objects are for time being, it comes and then it vanishes. So that way, if you see that at that time, whatever thoughts are come, because time is not bad actually. It's the thought is created by us. So the way we create the thought, that is important. So I'm not saying I am, like you mentioned that in Gita Tyagi. So I never consider myself as that level. I'm practicing. I'm trying rather. So I cannot. Again, I'm telling you, I cannot control my emotion. Frankly speaking, sometimes it's not possible. No, we are. But I intend to reach to that level. I always seek, pray to God. So and some basic things I try to do. I don't know whether how you'll take it, like taking name of Krishna's, or wherever you or chanting some mantras and all at times. I do that, and it helps me a lot. Thank you so much.
With
Yes,
that, sir, which really opens up the flow that we actually talk about self-actualization. So I understand
correct.
that as you rightly pointed out, that who am I? So it is such a powerful thing, but as it is easily said, who am I? But hardly people understand the relevance of this question, and whenever they understand, maybe it is too late for them to really practice or implement the goodness of who am I.
Correct.
So in the
Correct.
journey of life, God has meant life to be a straight line, but it is us
Mm.
who has made it curvy, who has
Mm.
made it complement. So it is us who actually make the line sometimes circuitous. And so if I really go in terms of the very formative years of a person or any individual, we see that we have been always given the samskar or the culture that you have to be good, you have to do the good thing, you should think of good thing, you have to tomorrow become a good citizen and all the good things. But unfortunately, somehow we get biased. And unfortunately, we'd say that we are basically getting flown and drawn by different emotions and different times, some situation and circumstance. So how exactly one can self-actuate? So that would be my question to Mr. Sanjit, but of course I would listen to Mr. Sanjit. Yes, Mr. Sanjit, you have raised your hand.
Okay. The reason I have raised my hand, I have got something to say that
Please.
the bottom line or everything boils down that the moment you understand that you have nothing to lose or nothing to gain,
Absolutely.
that time you understand that you are in control of yourself. Basically, if I say if just in a spiritual point of view, that we came here with nothing and we will go from here with nothing. So we have nothing to gain, nothing to lose. The moment someone understands this basic thing, and he becomes free from everything, free from anger, free from jealousy, free from whatever you call. So no, this is also I have understood. This is also I've realized that I
Sir,
have
I
nothing to lose.
interject you here, and just I want to ask you that it is said very easily, but how to really practice and go into that state of mind when you can really feel that there's nothing to lose and there is nothing to really worry about. So how we go into that state of mind? In fact, our audience or the listeners would like to know if you can just also say something on that. How you have
Yeah,
done into that state?
you see, you see, it is very difficult to practice. It is easy to say, but it is difficult to practice. But I have realized, from my own perspective, from my own journey of my life, I have seen a lot of ups and downs in my life. So from that perspective, so from that journey, I have really understood this. There's I have nothing to lose here. I have nothing to gain from here also.
I
So
appreciate.
better be in yourself. Try to help others, and do something that you just leave a legacy for your next generation, that they remember me as a person who did something for the society. So the moment one person, someone understand this, then he has no worry. And one thing is that also what I believe, if somebody can have worry free life and regret free life, so that means he has mastered everything.
Let me
So
quickly go to Mohana, who is also a representative of the young Generation Z. So I just want to know from you, Mohana, that how exactly you find the this topic. Like as you already said that you wanted to shed some light. So what exactly are the challenges at your personal front? As you are also doing your studies, and what kind of challenges you face? You are also a YouTuber, you try to perform on different forums, I know. So how exactly you really work on that? And as Mr. Sanjit have already said and Mr. Abhijit has said, how exactly you try to control your emotions? What is your strategy?
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak right now. In my domain or in my field, that is law, I feel emotional quotient is very much important. Like, in case one wants to be a lawyer or an advocating for somebody, it is very important to know what others are thinking, what are the conditions going in behind some action, how the criminal minds work, which is like a very integral part in law. And we have a Latin maxim in law called mens rea, which means that every criminal has some motive to perform. So that is very important. And not just this, in case of law, even in corporate world, I feel it is very important for people to have emotional quotient. Until or unless a leader is having this awareness, they won't be able to be a good leader. They won't be able to have the relationship management, and which in turn will not let his or her team work efficiently. Emotional intelligence is something which helps us to build ourselves as an individual as well. It helps us to do self management, it helps us to be socially aware, it helps us to be empathetic towards others, which is very important. Skipping all this part, let's just say we are just a layman, then again, we need to have emotional intelligence. Emotional quotient is something which makes a human a proper human. Without this thing, having too much IQ, knowing a lot many things, and being Like a complete insensible person doesn't make a man a proper human, right? So this is very important also. And speaking about me, myself, I am somebody who gets angry very easily. But then again, I know how to control my anger. It's just I try to be, under the wraps, and I don't just speak out when I'm angry. So that is something which I suggest to other people also, that when you're angry, don't just speak and don't just let your words flow out, because words are like bullets, and we know once when it goes out, we cannot turn it back, right? So every time when we are speaking to others, whenever we are sharing our thoughts and we get angry, maybe, then we should keep it under wraps and speak sensibly with others, be empathetic, and try to be socially aware so that others do not feel bad. That's it.
Thank you, Mona, and I really appreciate being so honest and straightforward. And you have really kept respect of your profession, law. This is how you are legally you are correct, and you have legitimately presented the topic. So I just quickly come back with your point, as you mentioned, Mohana, that empathy. It is very important in life to become empathetic, and this is a very word which is easily said, but at times when we have to really exercise the empathy, we are not really careful. We really do not mind that how exactly others are really reacting, on what impact it is going to make. The words which we are going to use, as Mohana said, that they are like bullets. So once the bullet is shot, you cannot change the direction of the bullet. Either it misses or it hits the target. So it is the choice of words, it is the choice of emotion which we are into. Many a times I've seen, being in corporate for so many years now, I've seen that people are sometimes the same person who actually is so dear and is hired for his good skills. A time comes when he becomes a very bad person, when he is no more being appreciated, when he is being every time being rebuked, every time he is basically a center of controversy. And the time comes when the same motivated guy becomes a demotivated guy. And a time comes when the organization or the management thinks that he has to be fired or he should be no more in the job. But how exactly this thing happens, no one ever tried to understand. Or no one ever tried to understand that how a person who is motivated becomes demotivated, or how exactly an employee who is engaged becomes disengaged. So I would request Dr. Raghuraman, who has been patiently listening to us. So, sir, if you can just tell me that how exactly are your experiences all these years, and from your profession, if you can just tell us some information or share certain stories on incidents like that.
Sir, thank you very much for the opportunity given, Mr. Prem Das. So I'm very happy and indeed to participate in this healthy discussion on EQ. And I appreciate one thing, Mr. First person who said about the 4 A's, avoid, alter, adapt, and accept. This is a very important thing. And one case study I can give you there about the adapt. Adaptability is very important thing. When I was working abroad for a decade, at the time when I was working abroad, I went for the panel of interview. At the time, I was a professor there. So before that, they came to India and then they select the guys, appropriate guys they wanted there. That country is purely and Muslim-based country, Islam-based country. So they asked me there all the things they asked me to teach, everything they give there. Why I'm particularly this third point is very important is they asked me that, Raghuram, how are you going to do from your side? And you are from India, you are very good, you have excellent credentials, good teaching experience, everything is fine. But how are you going to manage the students? That's very important thing he asked me that. Then I said, it's not a big issue at all, I said. What do you mean big issue? Since you do not know about this particular language, you said big issue it is. You say very casually, you say like this, yeah, I'm very strong in that area. So naturally, I'll be the person. I'm very strong in A. I said they are very much wondered. What is the A, Raghuram? Again, you are telling, no, sir. With the A only, you can survive that. I said, what is the A? And you want to know about curiosity about A? It's nothing but CQ, curiosity quotient. Through curiosity quotient, I went for the A. I said adaptability. What? Adaptability. I'm adaptable to any situation with any person at any point of time. That's my strength. So maybe the teething problems will be there when I go for this part in the first instance. I can adapt to the situation. I can adapt to the students also. Students' mentality. I know the mood management of the students. So that's very strong for these things. Then he said, how can you adapt to yourself? That's my strong purpose. So I have experience of senior level experience, of the 25 years of experience in the industry as well as in the academics and put together. So at the time I said EQ is very important thing. The EQ plays a role for me, not the IQ. IQ will take you there, the entry level. EQ will make you to stay in the permanent position in the senior level. Then do you think, do you have high EQ and low EQ like that? He asked me that. Then I told him that, sir, the high EQ person will always have the admit and team mistake. If I make a mistake, I admit it and said okay for the 6. And then I take constructive criticism by the competent people. Naturally, I am the person. I always go for the 3 C's. I am a cool, calm, and composed person at any situation. Never get agitated. 3 C is very important thing to make you to confident. So I am confident about myself, and I control my emotions, but I cannot control others' emotions. When I say all the things are there, they're very curious for these things. So Raman, you stay there. It's enough for me. You stay there. I thought out of 100 professors he came here, I was only selected. Then he said, we stay there. Then I thought, okay. I thought they didn't like it, the way which I answered for them there. Then they called me there. The panel member, the head panel called me there. Raghuram, I really appreciate you there. This is the people I wanted from you there. And please prepare yourself and come back to join within a month's time. I'll send you the order for you.
Right.
This way, I'm very specialized in the EQ for these things. I would like to specialize myself for EQ, and wherever you go there, EQ. Initially, I said EQ is only the initial stage, but the IQ plays a vital role. IQ is only take you to the various levels only. IQ to take you gets you to hired. IQ gets you hired, but EQ gets you fired or promoted.
Perfect.
At the particular level, if you don't have the proper EQ is not there, you are fired or you are promoted. So both put together for the professional success of this life. Many people say, I lost my motivation, I am very weak, I am stressed, everything else. There's no need to worry for anything else. Everything is there. Everything is a base there for these things. First understand yourself. People are not understanding themselves. That's why they go outburst their feelings, outburst everything else. They get angry for this. Control is very easy to say control your anger. But if you know the tactics of control your anger and then control your emotion, that leads to anger. I don't want to take much of your time. Thank you very much for the opportunity given.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really a pleasure and also very insightful to listen to your experiences. I would request also Mr. Venus, who is also there. Thank you, Venus, for joining us. What are your experiences? If you really want to ask or share some of your experience, the challenges of controlling emotions, and how much you think emotional intelligence is important in life.
Good evening, sir. Sorry, I'm late today. And so far as what I was excited right to join it on the time, because this is some of the very, very relevant point in the corporate world today to understand the importance of the EQ. And out of my experience, and Dr. Raghuraman has rightly quoted one experience that one person staying in a Muslim country, which is, I can relate myself, that I am in the Muslim country for 15 years being vegetarian and still working out. So definitely, I was just reading something on the IQ and EQ today, and I understand that what doctor has said is rightly concerned, that IQ may take you away, making you sometimes, I don't want to mention the word arrogant, but they are always elevated. They feel like the others are not having the capability to understand themselves, which they understand faster and better. Having said that, EQ is really required to get adapted, having a better communication, and definitely if you have a better communication, the technical knowledge or know-how may be useful at the higher post is maybe like 20%, 30% on the technical know-how, but 60 to 70% is your how you manage your team, how you deliver your vision to them and make them committed. So EQ is not only relevant to some emotions, but it is the way one has to communicate, considering all the aspect, how the people will be feeling, how the people will perceive it, and how much they will get committed towards us. So obviously, I missed some of the talks from the other gentlemen and other
We'll
speakers,
quickly
but
come to thank you, Vinesh, for your
yeah.
point. I would just like go back to Mr. Abhijit. Mr. Abhijit, what exactly do you think is the role of empathy? Like, when we talk about that the people should they should understand about themselves, but when it comes to exercising empathy, why we are not sometimes effective and what we can do to improve that?
Yeah, so empathetic, to become empathetic, it's again, it's an journey to, as I said, if someone has this quotient, spiritual quotient, then only I think it makes sense. See, like always, this desire is there. I want. Now, whenever we open our mind, so I want. Now I want. If it is always I want some positive thoughts, then a person can have that quality to become empathetic. If he or she is always desiring, I want to have that pleasure, and also, so I think that one quality must have. That again, your that vita tagi, that same concept came here. And then one more point I just want to say, like as I said, like two more points. One is who am I, along with that what am I, that is also important. That understanding is very important. And then you last time you just mentioned that how we can practice this. So practicing, there's a method actually, practicing this. You have to practice this rigorously. So I think there's a, like in Vedantin opinion, there's a practicing method that is in Sanskrit, Sravana Manana Nididhyasana. So this is the type of, like, once you're listening, then you're reflecting on that, and then dwelling on that concept. So this way you have to practice. I mean, in for my giving my example, every I'm trying actually, rather every time I try to realize that who am I actually, or what am I. So that realization, maybe through this chanting, all chants, nice thing you can see, it boils down to this this statement only. Mostly whatever chants are there in our scriptures, so it says this Mahabhakya, na? So who am I, what am I? That is the Tattvamasi, like that. This that is the only answer, this end of knowledge Vedanta. So that way you can become, I think, this all this, like, again, it cannot be forcefully kind of drawn this, and whenever you say to young crowds.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
So I really understand you are really talking about Vedanta, non-dualistic thought. This is really so nice. But how many of us really could relate it to? I think what exactly is very important, sir, you have already said that to knowing yourself is very important. That itself is the whole, the battle. That unless and until you know the journey from the time you started and till the time you accomplish all your goals and beyond that. So we are all so far, Mr. Vivek, I just want to go to you now. So we are talking about self-awareness. Now there is something which is also talking about self-management. We know that self-management is also a very big thing. And then we'll talk about, as per Daniel Goleman's 4 boxes. So we talk about the third thing, that how do you know about the social awareness and how you really execute the same when you're talking about relationship management. So I want to know that in terms of self-management, the people who would be listening this video, what would be the takeaway for them? How exactly to initiate the self-management for EQ or for EQ development? You are on mute, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, Premankur, before I delve on the realm of self-management, I guess empathy is also a very important part of self-management, right? And just to add on to what Abhijit was talking about empathy, what I feel is, see, when you define empathy, what you talk about is what the other person is feeling, right? This is how you define empathy, right? You can give convoluted definitions also, but the simplest thing is what the other person is thinking. Why he's acting the way he's acting. I guess one of the reasons why we find it very, very difficult to act with empathy is because we don't listen. Listening attentively is very, very important. And not only, see, this is where we talk about listening not only with your ears, but listening with your eyes also. Because if you talk about some of the theories, some of the psychological theories that go into as far as communication is concerned, and you talk about the island, this iceberg theory, words have only 7% importance. 38% is style and 55% is body language. So a huge number of 93% is listening with your eyes. However, what we do is we don't look at the person at all. What is his body language? How is he talking? What is his emotional state? So unless we do that, I guess it is very, very difficult for us to act with empathy. Right. Now, coming to the what you call self-management realm of Daniel Goleman. See, the way I understand it, self-management talks about control, initiative, and managing your own emotions. And when we talk specifically about control, like Mona was talking about anger management, right? She finds this difficult, but still she's working on it. So the first thing is that you understand yourself. She understands it's very easy for me to get angry, right? I guess that's the starting point. And the second point in self-management is, what are my triggers? What makes me act the way that I do? Do I understand my triggers? And this is where I guess when we talk about Goleman's EQ in relation with Johari window, I guess Johari window also becomes very important. Because when we are talking about the arena or when we are talking about the open facade, right, that is the point where the rectangle has to become the biggest. So are we asking for feedback? Are we getting feedback? Are we really, see, for example, Mona also touched upon leadership, right? So how do you say, suppose there is a conflict, how do you handle that conflict? So one of the ways when you just lead is that you resolve conflict. Whereas when you lead with emotional intelligence, what you do is you restore relationships. Because when you just resolve a conflict, that means that there is what you call a gangrene somewhere, and what you are trying to do is just put a plaster on top of that. But when you restore relationships, what you are trying to do is that this situation is not going to come again. I'm going to listen to you, you are going to listen to me, and both of us will find out a middle path. This is what I feel is the crux of this, what you call the self-management realm, as Goleman talks about. And of course, it leads to what you call a great relationship management, because you are able to handle conflicts. How will you handle conflicts? Because first you need to understand how you went into conflict in the first place. What was the reason for it? How do I develop trust? How do I develop the trust that Dr. Raghu Ramlu trust on me, Abhijit trust on me, Premankur or Mona trust on me? I need to understand myself first, my own actions. How do I, what you call, ensure teamwork? So it's very, very important for me to look inwards and find out what are my triggers, what takes me on, what takes me off. It's very, very important to understand there are some things that I know, but there are many things that I don't know. And when I'm working with professionals, they are the guys who bring that skill into the discussion point. I need to learn from them. It's not my way or highway. Both of us have to move down the road so that we move towards the goal. Am I setting goals for my team? Or I'm giving them the insight so that they can set their goals and achieve success. This is what I understand when you talk about the different realms of emotional intelligence, Premankur.
Thank you, Mr. Joshi. With this, I just want to catch up your line which you said that my way or highway. So most of the time I have seen that working with the leaders who are very aggressive, and even sometimes they are the owners or they are a family-owned business, when we have seen the adaptation is a real challenge. There a time comes when they find that this is how exactly the things should be done, and they always have a high expectation that people should always do it in that way. So how actually we are open, because you talk about Johari window. So how exactly there is a particular objective in Johari window to know the hidden persona, to get sincere feedback from your team, to know the hidden persona, the hidden box. So now I want to ask maybe Mr. Abhijit or to any of you who can tell me that what we can do to ensure that we have the right environment where we can get at least the honest feedback so that even the principal himself get an opportunity to know how he is. So maybe anyone can come up, maybe Mr. Abhijit. I would like to ask Mr. Abhijit because he's working in some interesting topic with Innovation Park. I am Innovation Park. So I'm sure he's working with different segments and stratas of society. So, sir, how much you are open of taking feedback? Because you work with ministers, you work with ground level people, you work with entrepreneurs, and how often you really are honest in giving feedback and taking feedback?
So, I actually, please, can you please ask the question once again? Like
I'm
what
asking,
exactly
sir, that how much you're open in taking feedback and giving feedback, and how do you ensure
Yes.
that you have the right environment set so that people come with the
Okay.
sincere feedback?
Here, yeah, absolutely. I got it. Now I got it. So, normally, person like us, once you are realized your true nature, so it's really difficult to become a tough leader. In my last assignment, in fact, in present assignment also, I I've been like facing like this, like I cannot control people. You have to give direction. So always I believe in because I cannot. So I normally give my feedback about their attitude, and also by all are in that orientation. Orientation is like it's like law of karma. The basic. I'm telling you, this is a basic psychology philosophy. That is law of karma. So you cannot control. You cannot. This is my belief, and I think this is a belief of the entire Eastern mythology. So everybody has his own bank of karma. So whatever he or she is doing, that you cannot change. What we can change rather, that is you're practicing positive my attitudes. So as I initially told, that is the only thing. So if some negative thoughts are coming, if you can at least help or share some positive thoughts with them in that discussion with them, so that they, if you can help them out, that don't think negative. Don't, at least as a leader, if we can create a positive environment, whatever way, some good discussions, some good thoughts.
I would just like to quickly come to, thank you, sir. I would like to come to Dr. Raghuraman, who wants to share something on feedback. Yes, Dr. Raghuraman, what's your take? Are you there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the feedback has been replaced by feed forward. Basic thing.
Yeah.
It is not feedback. The feedback has been replaced by the word feed forward system.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Feedback is important. Who gives feedback is more important. I strongly agree with these things, are there. A competent person should give a feedback for the person who is going to be assessee. Instead of that, any person can give a feedback, and the feedback may be positive or negative. That's immaterial for these things. Who gives a feedback is more important thing. I can give a classical example. I was given the feedback for 360-degree performance appraisal was given there by my colleagues, my other department colleagues, my students, my superior, everybody is there. Students, they are incapable. They gave the feedback in particular area. Out of 5, I got 4.5. I got that. One particular area, it was very, very low. I simply rejected. My HOD gave the feedback to me there. Raghuram, this is the feedback from things. Everything is okay for you. I'm very, very happy. Then you just go through it and sign it there. Then I refuse to sign. The sign that particular portion of the feedback is given by the students. Students they want to know they are in a favoritism mood always. Those who gel with them, you used to gel with the students, make them pat them, they are giving a good marks. So many ifs and buts. Then I said, I am not accepting this feedback, and this portion only, I am not accepting these things. If you say like this, and then I'll accept the feedback. Raghuram, it's up to you there. If you don't accept the feedback, please return to me there. I said I returned the feedback to him there. The competent authority by the competent people should give a feedback for the particular person, a senior level person. A senior level person in the organization, especially in the leadership level, a competent person should be given a feedback. If incompetent person also giving a feedback on their own whims and fancies, on whimsical mood when they give the feedback, that is not a proper feedback from my side. This is what my contention.
I do agree.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. But I just want to ask Mr. Vivek, like, this is something which is rising up to another question that, as you said, feed forward or feedback. So when we talk about 360-degree, maybe the feedback system, of course, you cannot make everybody happy. So you will always have people who are not happy and they are not really content with your behavior. And for some other reason, you might think that maybe they're giving you genuine feedback, but you cannot accept it. So, we cannot rule it out that whether it's a bad feedback or a good feedback, feedback is feedback. And as you rightly said, Dr. Ranguraman, that it is feed forward. So feedback only is useful when you really work on that. And of course, we understand that how we set the environment or the channel or the communication so that we get the honest feedback. So as a trainer, as a facilitator, which you love to call yourself, how do you facilitate your audience to help or design a right feed forward or a feedback method? Yes, sir.
Primankur, I'll put it this way, right? See, as Dr. Raghu has also pointed out, I'm not a great fan of 360-degree feedback, right? And I always feel that many a times, many abnormalities creep up as far as those 360-degree feedbacks are concerned. However, I would like to put on a discordant note on that, because who am I to reject a feedback? Somebody tells something about me, right? The word is full of perception, right? That's his perception of me. He thinks that maybe there are certain things I'm not doing right. And perception is always the truth for that person, right? Like they say, as far as politics nowadays is concerned, it is all about optics. Optics is the truth. If there are the right optics, that's the way things are happening, right? So one thing, of course, that point that I like to make is, who am I to reject a feedback? The feedback can be bad, right? And somehow what happens is that if the feedback is good for me, I always say, wow, right? And somehow I feel, I'm not talking for the word, but if the feedback is good, I say wow, and everything is hunky-dory in the word. And what I feel is that at that point of view, somehow I'm losing sight of emotional intelligence at that point of time. Because what's happening is that any negative feedback that's coming to me, I'm questioning the competence of the person who is giving it. I might be right, I might be wrong. My only point is, that's his perception. He thinks that I'm a lousy guy. Fair enough. I guess let me take that. And if I can know that person or a group of person, I guess I'll be the first person who will go there and find out as to why he thinks that I'm lousy. Right? Because coming back to Johari window, this is what we are talking about. We are trying to reduce our blind spot. For all you know, there might be a blind spot which I'm not looking at. And that blind spot is a blemish on my entire facilitation skills or any other skills, which, if taken care of, is going to give me great dividends. Now, coming back to your question, the second part of your question, where you talked about how you ensure that you get the right feedback, right? I always believe that first and foremost, the thing that you require for a feedback is that a person should feel that is empowered. He should feel empowered that he can give a feedback and there is not going to be any, what you call, action taken on him, right? For example, if a government of the day asks me of a feedback, I give a feedback, I will give a genuine feedback, even if I'm a journalist or otherwise, if I know that my job is going to continue. If I know that giving a genuine feedback is going to let a pink slip come to my home, the chances are I'll never give that feedback. So same thing happens for the session also. Because many a time people who come, they say, hey, yaar, it's a question of what, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. This guy has come a long way off. Fair enough. 4 of the things were good. I guess one of the things needed improvement, but why should I? So if they feel safe, and safe, I'm not saying that I'm a don who can kill them, but the point is, if they feel safe in raising their hand and saying that this is what could have been done, should have been done in a different way, I guess if I can give them that environment where they stay safe, feel safe, and they know that nothing untoward is going to happen if that feedback is given, I guess I changed the entire dynamics of the meeting that is taking place. This is what I feel.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vivek, for your candid.
I would like to point out this thing. In
Yes, sir.
connection with this, Vivek, feedback, negative feedback or bad feedback can be taken, definitely, no doubt at all. But provided it should be given a recommendation also from the SWOT analysis.
Right. Fair, fair. I get it. I get it.
Am I right, sir? Am I right, sir? You are a senior person. The competent person should give a feedback. Suppose I want to give a feedback whether I am competent or not, my above authority should say you are competent. Yes, Raghuram, you can give a feedback. So wherever the lacunas or pitfalls or whatever maybe the words are there, then you should give a recommendation for him. These are the areas to be improved there. If the improvement is there, definitely I'll take the feedback as a genuine feedback. He's a concerned person.
Like we said, Dr. Raghu,
yeah,
3 things are very important, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I get a feedback, I guess I need to go to the person and ask him what went right,
exactly,
what went wrong, what could have been done better, right? And I always feel, Dr. Raghu and everyone, that the onus is on me. Approach that person and ask him, boss, what went right, what went wrong, what could have been done better, so that my Vivek 2.0 becomes a better version of what I am right now.
If they do not know, that's only question mark.
Thank you, gentlemen. We are really thankful for your candid and honest, submissions. That what exactly are your feelings? I would quickly come back to Mohana. If Mohana has certain things to be said after all these discussions, what do you think? That what exactly are the takeaway of this discussion, or what exactly do you think the youngsters who are listening, like you, who would be also inspired? And of course, professionals want to know that what exactly we are really doing after today, after listening this, which is going to be useful to develop our emotional quotient.
Yes. First of all, this entire meet was an insightful one, really informative. And what I believe today's young generation should take away from this is how to self-assess yourself, how to manage yourself, and how to be self-aware. And yes, the first point which I already said is how to be more empathetic, to be a better human, to grow as an individual. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abhijit. What exactly are the takeaway for this entire session, sir? What you would like to add on?
No, absolutely. The last discussion, it was a learning for me. As I said, I am actually not an HR professional, so I got to know about this feedback and this concept. But however, like Mohana says, is absolutely this generation. They need to understand, realize their actual reality. So I pray to God this should come. Everybody should realize themselves to potential, who they are actually. Absolutely. So I only pray to God. That's my only intent. And
absolutely,
thank you,
sir.
Thank you.
We all have our good intentions. I would quickly come to Mr. Joshi to give your conclusion, sir, if you can conclude.
Yeah, Prabhankar, see, one thing that I always believe is we all are learners. We all are learning how to do things the right way. And many a times, I won't say sometimes, many a times, we just blurt out something which we should not. Call it a heat of the moment or call it anything. However, all such things, what they really tell us about is there is so much to learn, right? We exactly are not sannyasis, right? Like Mohana has very rightly pointed out, it's very easy for her to get angry. It's very easy for me also to lose sight of what I'm supposed to do.
Absolutely.
However, emotional intelligence always tells you that please come back, right? Always think, reflect. I guess Abhijit was talking about listening and reflecting. Always reflect back. Always at the end of the day, think what went right, what went wrong, what could have been done better. So that tomorrow when you get up, and God willing, if you get up, you are a better version of what you were the last day. And we all are learning. If somebody says he has learned enough as far as EQ is concerned, I guess that's the biggest lie that anybody can at any point of time can pen.
Absolutely.
We all are learning. And one more point, Premankar. Every time when you say Gen Z and every time you say that Mohana, a youngster, do you really mean that we all are old?
Really?
Let's set the record right.
No, yeah, number-wise we are old, mentally we are young.
Exactly. So with this, we really come to the end of this discussion, but this is just a beginning, what I believe, because we would keep on discussing such wonderful topics. And I'm really thankful to all for joining this lovely webinar. But the ultimate takeaway, what I understand, is that we have to really become more active, or rather proactive, in learning from the society, learning from our peers, from our seniors, and understanding that how we can evolve as a better individual, whether it is by the non-dualistic thought or whether by the holy books like Bhagavad Gita, taking away all these lessons and trying to imbibe all these skill sets in ourselves. And we have to understand that every day, every single moment, how we can continuously transform ourselves into a better self in the journey of knowing who am I, and how we can exactly become a better individual for this society, because it's our opportunity, our turn to show the path to the next generation, and to also make sure that we have a better tomorrow, a better world for the people who are really waiting for. Thank you, gentlemen.
Sir,
Yes.
1 minute to say,
Please.
to maintain a relationship management, HR plus PR is equal to growth. Human relation plus personal relation plus public relation is a growth for the individual and for the organization.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful words and the contribution you made.
Thank you.
And I'm sure, like in this way, we'll be getting you back in other webinars as well. We
Thank
also had Mr. Jovincio, who is all the way from Benin. Jovincio, if you'd like to make some conclusion here, if you can just turn on your video.
Sure, thank you. And hello, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, according to your.
That doesn't matter.
Of course, it was a great pleasure for me joining this webinar, and I have learned a lot. For sure, emotional intelligence is the key for people to grow, no matter what's happening. What is the key for success is the answer we decide to give to what is happening to us. And I think that has been mainly what I have heard here, and I'm very glad to attend and be with you during this time. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jovincio. Keep joining in the same way. I am really thankful to all of you for being here, and I just pray to the Almighty to keep us all healthy, happy, and on the, as rightly said, that on the spiritual quotient. So that is very important. So EQ plus SQ, probably that would be a discussion for the next topic or the next webinar. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good day. Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, sir.
Thank you.